Hi, I'm Dr. Harry Siegel, and welcome to my Happiness channel. This is a YouTube channel I created for my students at Cornell University for a course I began teaching only last week called Pursuing Happiness. On this channel, I have what I call happiness spots, and these are 4 or 5 minute recordings of my thinking aloud about what happiness is. But of course, this channel is open to anyone. And in fact, I co-host a podcast called Shrinking Trump with my friend and colleague, Dr. John Gartner. And just this week, I mentioned this channel on that podcast. So welcome to everyone who's come to hear my thoughts about this important and deceptively simple topic of happiness. This is my third happiness spot, and today I want to talk about the relationship between fantasy and happiness. First of all, fantasy is an integral part of consciousness. It's something that we engage in all the time throughout the day. I like to talk to large lecture halls and say to my students, so in the past hour, how many of you have been paying attention the whole time? Or have you been making the effort to pay attention? Because when you listen to me, I might say something and then suddenly you might find yourself drifting to some associated fantasy, right? You'll start thinking about what's going to happen tonight, and what about that friend I wanted to talk to, or that party I want to go to, and so on. And then you catch yourself in the fantasy and you turn back to the lecture. I'm sure some of you out there do that with watching the television news, or at a family dinner, or you're gathering for Thanksgiving around the table and you're listening to your aunt who you love, but who also tends to drone on. And yes, you've heard that story before. And suddenly you're thinking about something else. Fantasies tend to be about something that is fun or pleasurable that we hope will happen in the future, or they tend to be about something we're afraid is going to happen. There are negative fantasies and positive ones. But today I want to talk about the relationship between positive fantasies and happiness. Often when I talk to people, friends, students, or patients, positive fantasies in the future, well, there's something that you're longing to happen. If you aren't in a romantic relationship, you're thinking about what would it be like to meet someone who would really excite you or bring you some kind of happiness. Then you can go on dates, or you can bring them home to meet your family or introduce them to friends. Sometimes the fantasy of happiness in the future is that job you've always wanted, that level of recognition that you've been hoping for at your job. Maybe you're hoping that something that you'll do soon in the future will bring you financial success so that you can travel in the way that you want to. I'm just throwing out these possibilities because fantasies about the future often are about happiness that will come later. For students of mine in college, you're often working really hard so that you can get into medical school or law school, and you're deferring happiness until that happens. I guess the thought I want to I want to leave you with, I want you to think about, is that fantasies about the future aren't just about success or a new romantic partner or even a stage of life that you've been waiting for. Those fantasies of the future are about an experience of yourself that you've been longing for. To feel successful, to feel recognized, to feel loved and desired by someone, and maybe even someone in particular that you haven't been able to fully connect with. So, if I had to summarize it then, and you tell me if this is right or not, fantasies of happiness are fantasies about a version of yourself you're hoping to experience. And I guess my question to you is, yes, events in the future might bring you happiness, but what about connecting with that part of yourself now? Why do you need something in the future to bring it about? I guess I'll leave you with that question. So I guess that's all for today. Thanks so much. I hope to see you next time for my next happiness spot. See you then.